I am probably the only NBA YouTuber on the face of the earth who regularly uploads content who has not talked about Ben Simmons yet since the end of the NBA playoffs and where his future could lie in the NBA. But today, I'm finally going to do that. I'm not going to talk about mock trades. I'm not going to do any NBA trade machines in this video. I just want to give my thoughts on how he's been talking in the media, how NBA Twitter, NBA media, and mainstream media has been treating Ben Simmons around all of these rumors, and how he has played in the playoffs and some of the thoughts that they have about him. And then I'll briefly talk as well about some of the places that he could end up and some of the rough trade packages. They're not going to be anything exact. I'm not going to look at salary matching exact values, just to briefly talk about where he could go. So with that being said, let's first talk about some of the things that Ben Simmons has said and what's been said about him. So of course, most recently now, within the last couple of days, Ben Simmons has made it fairly clear that he is not wanting to come back to Philadelphia, that he does not want to report to training camp. Whether that is legitimately how he will actually act it out, or if that's him trying to even further buy his way out of Philadelphia, remains to be seen. But all indications would say that Philadelphia and Ben Simmons is no longer going to be a thing moving forward into the 2021-2022 season. That being said, there's also been a lot of crap that's been thrown out, and I want to make that very clear. There's been a lot of stuff that continuously gets thrown out about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid having a rift, being bad teammates, not getting along well, to what Joel Embiid has repeatedly denied, to what Joel Embiid has also talked about how lots of the stuff in this media and all the stuff around him and Ben Simmons has been an absolute load of garbage. And that's another thing you have to consider as well, is obviously Embiid's not going to throw his own teammate under the bus all the time, but at the same time, Embiid also has to stick up for his teammate a little bit if he's going to end up playing with him again. So where the truth is honestly hard to find. I think some of the rumors are an absolute piece of garbage, and I tend to lead a little bit more on the side of Joel Embiid and saying, yeah, like, I think they're probably okay. They probably have some frustrations on the basketball court. I have no doubt about it, but I think off the court, I think these guys probably are fine, and I'm sure there's some rumors out there that are being made up to be way worse than they are. And at the end of the day, Ben Simmons doesn't talk to Joel Embiid in what sounds like a couple of months anyways, so where's the rift? In the season, sure, there might have been some frustrations. Obviously, Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers both subtly but unsubtly mentioned their frustrations in press conferences after their elimination from the playoffs against the Hawks. But ultimately, that's just to be expected after what was an absolutely abysmal performance from Ben Simmons in those playoffs. But it's also led to a point where Ben Simmons is just severely underrated, I feel, right now. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons is still an all-star caliber level player. Whether you like that fact or not, it is. You do not have to be a great offensive player to be an all-star caliber player. Let's look at Rudy Gobert. Yeah, he exists. Is he good on offense? Hell no. He's an all-star caliber player. No one doubts that. You can doubt his contract and whether he deserves a max. I'm definitely one of the first people to advocate for that. I don't like paying any big center that is an elite on both ends of the floors anywhere near a max contract, but Rudy Gobert got it, and Rudy Gobert is an all-star. Ben Simmons is also an all-star, and he is amongst one of the best defensive players in the league alongside Rudy Gobert. That's just a fact. If you want to argue with that, that's not an argument. You're just wrong. That's just a fact. Now, can you argue that Ben Simmons ideally shouldn't have a max contract? Sure, but you can also argue that about guys that are way worse than him in the league, or even on his own team, as Harris. So that's just the way max contracts are. That doesn't mean you should be paying guys like Ben Simmons max contracts to win as your second best player, but it happens. Those types of guys get max contracts. Terry Rozier just got a max contract, giving on way less money, but nonetheless, a max contract. Look at guys like D'Angelo Russell, Tobias Harris. Guys get max contracts that necessarily shouldn't get them to be winners, but they're still deserving of them, and Ben Simmons is still an all-star caliber player. Those are just the facts. That's what I want to put out there. He's been severely underrated lately, and I want to say that. And I don't want to get this off now as a video where I'm defending Ben Simmons. I just want to talk about Ben Simmons, how this has gone this offseason, and how he actually still is as an NBA player objectively. I don't want to praise him. I don't want to shut him down. I just want to actually be objective, because I feel like hardly anyone is actually being objective about Ben Simmons right now. That's just the way it is. I mean, that's the media, that's the news outlets, that's how it's always going to be. But that takes me to a point where some of this Ben Simmons slander has just gone too far. Not that it's necessarily disrespectful, and I get it. It's an NBA player, a professional athlete in the limelight of the media. They're going to receive criticism. But there's a clip today of a Philadelphia mainstream news network, not a sports network, not sports media, just a mainstream sports network, or a mainstream news outlet, I should say, pardon me, that absolutely just, it's a Philadelphia network. Keep that in mind. It's a Philadelphia network. And it's all over Twitter if you haven't seen it. Be sure to look at it if you want to. But essentially, it is a clip of a Philadelphia news network cutting to Sen talking about Ben Simmons being seen in Philadelphia today. And it is essentially a garbage bin floating down water. And that's what they're saying Ben Simmons is. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I get Philadelphia fans, people from Philadelphia not being happy with Ben Simmons for how he played in the playoffs. I get it. But the fact of the matter is as much as you would love for Ben Simmons to be that next coming of LeBron, or near LeBron that many hoped when he came into the league, to get better on offense, to be a better shot maker, to be a better three-point shooter, to be more aggressive offensively, and just own his abilities on offense and work towards it and not just be scared to work towards and actually use his offensive talents outside of playmaking. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons is still an all-star, and at the end of the day, Ben Simmons is still being paid by the Philadelphia 76ers. Sure, is he going to be traded? Probably, but he's not been. And how stupid are you going to look if in 3 months' time, you're cheering him on as a member of the Philadelphia 76ers? Not to mention, Ben Simmons is not trash at all. And I get it when sports media does it, but when mainstream media is doing it multiple months after he's played an NBA game, why? What is your point other than you're just a dick? Like, I understand criticism of NBA players is a thing. I do it sometimes on this channel. I will be critical of players if they're not playing well. That's just part of it. That's part of analysis. That's part of me talking about the game. But there's a line between you being a mainstream media with a couple of 40 and 50-year-olds sitting behind a panel and trying to make a crappy joke about Ben Simmons a couple of months after he's played an NBA game while he's still a member of your team. So objectively, I just think some of the crap that's going on with Ben Simmons is stupid. And just completely undeserved. It's pointless. It's absolutely pointless. There's no merit to it. At the end of the day, Ben Simmons is still a very good player. I understand the slander. I understand sports media. It's just the way it is, especially on Twitter. But now you're getting mainstream news outlets in his city that he plays in. It's just not a good look. It's really not a good look. But that being said, I'm going to move past my part where I crap on media because I think anything media is terrible, and that's why I don't really follow or keep on track of anything NBA media anymore. And I just watch basketball, and I watch some YouTube content, and I can't be darned with anything media because it's annoying. At the end of the day, it's annoying. Stephen A. Smiths and Skip Baylesses of the world, it's all for views, it's all for clicks at the end of the day. But that'll be for another video. I want to talk about where Ben Simmons could actually go now and move past all of the bullshit of media. So when you're talking about where the heck Ben Simmons could actually go, the options are a lot less limited than people would have thought a month or so ago because his value has continued to diminish day by day. The more rumors come out, the more he says he wants out, the more Philadelphia feel they have to trade him, the more he gets shit talked, the more his value drops, the less teams are willing to offer. And with that, there's less teams that are going to be able to make a trade with what Philadelphia is willing to accept. Now you talk about Sacramento. There's no shot in hell they're giving up De'Aaron Fox or Tyrese Halliburton right now for Ben Simmons. That's just not going to happen, and rightfully so. De'Aaron Fox for Ben Simmons, I think is straight up even, is not something Sacramento would do. And Tyrese Halliburton had a brilliant rookie year and is looking to continue to improve moving forward. So they're not going to be interested. Is Buddy Hield, Marvin Bagley, Harrison Barnes, and a first going to be enough? Probably not. And so if it's not, then Sacramento are out. Golden State have some nice young packages. They have Kuminga, they have Moody, they have Wiseman, have future picks. They throw Wiggins in there, but Wiggins is the best player coming back. I don't know if the 76ers are going to be interested in that because they still want to win now. They still have Joel Embiid. They just locked him up on an extension. Why did he sign that extension? I'm not sure. I'm going to be honest. Because right now, Philadelphia is in a bit of a train wreck. But nonetheless, Joel Embiid is there. They need to win now. They want to win now. And so getting back Andrew Wiggins as their best piece might not be something they're overly interested in, especially considering Tobias Harris is still on the team. Moving on, you can talk about Toronto. They're definitely someone that have had some interest. Anyone with Pascal Siakam for Ben Simmons trade offers, I think it's stupid, because quite frankly, you can make the argument that Pascal Siakam is a better player than Ben Simmons. He plays a similar role, but can play make a little bit less, defend arguably almost as good, although Ben Simmons definitely is a better defender, but Pascal Siakam is still an elite one. And Pascal Siakam is better on offense. So that trade's not happening. OG Anunoby, I don't think the Toronto Raptors are trading him at all. I think he's poised for a breakout year. But other than that, then you're talking about Fred VanVleet and a pick, maybe, at best. And again, that's a guard. The 76ers need a point guard. There's no doubt about it. They need a shot creator. They need a shot maker. Again, it's not overly exciting, and even then, I don't know if the Raptors would be overly interested in trading Fred VanVleet. Outside of that, you're talking about Portland, whether you're settling for CJ McCollum, and you might even have to give up assets to get him, although I would think more so likely that it would be CJ and something for Ben Simmons. But then Philadelphia could also go a route where they try and get Damian Lillard, and they try and give up Ben Simmons and assets, whether that be first, whether that be Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, and try and get Damian Lillard to get their elite shot creator to have a Damian Lillard and Joel Embiid pairing. Outside of that, the options are limited. The Lakers don't really have any trade pieces. The Clippers don't really have any trade pieces. Minnesota is probably the only other team with a significant chance. They've also expressed a little bit of interest, but have also said they don't really want to trade away D'Angelo Russell because him and Karl-Anthony Towns are good friends. That was the reason why D'Angelo Russell came in, was to keep Karl-Anthony Towns healthy and have him, or keep him happy and not have him want to leave Minnesota. So far, that's worked. They haven't played much on the court together, but when they did last year, when everyone was healthy, they looked promising. But now, for any Ben Simmons trade to work, Malik Beasley and D'Angelo Russell, or at least just D'Angelo Russell, are going to have to be involved in a trade, and that's going to cause some conflict within the Minnesota front office to decide whether that's even worth it, because Karl-Anthony Towns has to be kept happy. That has to be priority number one for Minnesota, and ultimately trading away D'Angelo Russell might disturb that and lead to him walking as an unrestricted free agent. So that has to be weighed there. And so there's not really any clear-cut team that says, yeah, that would make sense to make a trade. It just doesn't really exist anymore. It really doesn't. Because the value has dropped so much that there's way less teams are going to be willing to offer, and Philadelphia just aren't going to be happy with what they can get. Indiana's the type of team, maybe Brogdon, that's of interest, and a pick or something like that, but you're talking about like Brogdon, CJ, Fred VanVleet, and that's pretty much it. Maybe you'd get those guys in a first, but that's about it. You're not getting much back for Ben Simmons anymore in terms of significant impact all-star caliber player. You're just not getting that anymore. Ben Simmons just doesn't demand that type of value at all, and Philadelphia have really put themselves into a bad spot. Anyways, that is enough of my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let me know what you think about Ben Simmons, how the media has dealt with it, where you think he could go. I definitely have some interesting opinions in this video, and some opinions that definitely might not be shared equally across the NBA front. So be sure to let me know what you think. Don't take this as a praise or diss against media, against Ben Simmons. I just want to share my thoughts objectively and honestly as I can, and I just want to have a discussion with you guys down in the comment section. I don't want it to be anything hostile, as it always becomes with Ben Simmons. I just genuinely want to have a discussion about Ben Simmons, how I feel, what's been going on, and hear what you guys think down below, and just have an honest discussion about it. So let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are. And I'm interested to see where Ben Simmons winds up throughout this offseason if he does get dealt, which all signs, of course, would indicate that that is the case moving forward. With that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you want to hear my thoughts on any other things throughout the NBA offseason, then be sure to click the box on the right-hand side of the screen. With that being said, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.